Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and today I'm going to be knocking one out with Boston comedian Will Noonan. We're going to break the funniest stories of recent times. Now, if you want to interact with us during the show, because we're really high-tech here, you can talk to us in the chat, ask us questions in the chat. You can call us at any time during the show, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. It's 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or you can also get us on Twitter. My Twitter is at XanderGibb. That's XanderGibb. That's XanderGibb. And you can also tweet Will with your questions, comments. You can tell him how hot he is. And his Twitter is at Will Noonan, WILLNOONAN. That's WILLNOONAN. We'll answer any of your questions as long as they're not math questions or anything to do with European countries and capitals. Okay, so don't forget to check out the Jake Pentland Show Saturdays, 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST with Jake, Jen, Eli, and all the crazy cult people that are there. Yesterday, they had someone online that was being given a psychiatric assessment on the show. The mind boggles. I mean, what next? A pap smear on the show? Also, you can check out Time Out Seat with Brandy and Jenny. Now, I think that's already happened this week, but usually it's Sundays, 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST, right after this show. But check with them on Twitter. And their Twitter is at Time Out Seat, TIMEOUTSEAT. Also, be sure to check out my sister from another Mr. Fallon Stone on the F-Word Experience, Saturdays, 3:30 PST, 5:30 EST. Hot topics of discussion on next week's show is dress codes. So be sure to join them and put your point of view across. Also, you can check out the Rob and Trav show. From March the 5th, they're going to be on every Monday and Tuesday at 8 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. PST on grindhouseradio.com. That's grindhouse.radio.com. Now, don't panic. Grindhouse is just a subsidiary of Gas House Radio. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you there, and you'll probably catch me there, too, being insulted and bitched at as per usual. Now, I'd like to welcome back to the show Xandermonium's resident Bostonian comic genius. He's been on the show before, obviously, or I wouldn't be welcoming him back. I've got the wrong teeth in today. Welcome back to the show, Will Noonan. Are you there?
I'm here. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. All that big build up, and you're like, hello. So how's it going with you, Will?
This is my third time on the show, I think.
It is.
Fourth.
Yeah. Three times. And every time you come on the show, the ratings kind of go through the roof. Now, I don't know if that's you or me or a combination of the two, but hell, let's just go with it. So what have you been doing? Yeah, it's our chemistry. We have to get together in other places, Will.
I've been doing okay.
He's like moving swiftly on. Stop with the innuendo.
I was already answering the question. I was like, what have I been doing?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. Today I drove through some really dangerous weather today. I drove up to New Hampshire and back through like a snowstorm. That was pretty dangerous. Yeah.
Now, how far is that from you?
It's about an hour and a half to the part of New Hampshire I was going to.
Right.
It was just it's one of those things where it escalates from not at all dangerous to extremely dangerous in like 10 seconds, and it's just scary. Yeah.
I don't even like driving in the rain, because sometimes when you drive in the rain at night, your visibility is literally kind of like a couple of feet in front of you.
True.
And if you're not got your game on, you can quite easily kind of go into the back of someone. And I hate it. I don't want to drive in those conditions. But obviously, if you go somewhere and then you're on your way back and the weather changes, you're kind of a bit stumped, because you've got to get home. And I don't like driving at night anymore. I used to prefer to drive at night, but now I just kind of like, anything after 6 o'clock. I think I'm turning into my mother.
It does happen to people at a certain age, it seems. They're just like, not driving at night anymore. I can't see the road.
I mean, I will, but I don't kind of want to. I don't want to kind of drive too far. But sometimes it kind of catches up with you, and I hate these kind of like where it's dark at 6 o'clock. I mean, when are we going to get rid of that stupid system where we put the clocks back and forward? It's supposed to be for farmers, but how many farmers are there left? I mean, it's all done in factories now. So let's get rid of this antiquated system.
Do you do you hate driving on the highway too? Is that something you also don't like?
No, I don't mind that, but I think unfortunately, I don't know if it's worse in cities, but especially in New York, when you drive on the interstate, most of the people that are on there are not very good drivers. And even when you're driving safely, they kind of pull in front of you and fuck you over and undertake and all of these things. And then they blame you for it. They're kind of like, you're the bad driver. But I kind of, if you got to get from A to B, you kind of got to negate it. But I much prefer to be driven nowadays. I really do.
Yeah. Well, but New York is like, when you walk through the touristy sections of town, it's always like, even on the sidewalks, the tourists like cause a lot of traffic. So I'm sure when the tourists drive their cars into the city, it must be overwhelming. I mean, driving in New York City is really crazy compared to everywhere else.
I think when you see a number plate from a different state, you kind of tend to change lanes or make sure that you don't kind of have any altercations with them. So, as you probably know, it's the Oscars today, and unfortunately, none of the projects that we were involved in the last year were nominated.
Can't believe it.
I know. I mean, I thought I would have at least got a nomination for Best Homosexual or something like that, but no, it wasn't to be. But, is it just me, or do you always kind of say, like I was saying, like Hansel and Gretel should be nominated, and everybody's saying, that won't be till next year. I never know when the cutoff point is for when the nominations are. For when kind of like it's the year before. But I think a lot of the movies I didn't even that were nominated, I kind of wasn't even sure what they were. Some of them I saw, and some of them I saw clips of. But I think that with the kind of like prior prowess of the people involved, you kind of get an idea of how good the movie is. But even that's not always a very good indication of how good the movie is going to be.
Yeah, it's true, man. You never. I kind of gave up on the Oscars like shortly after. I think it was like 2003 or 2004. They stopped giving it to good movies and good actors, and it just started to become like it sort of became like there's like a genre of movie that is Oscar type movies that are they're so clearly going for the Oscar, So
And surely the ideology should be just to make a good movie, and if it's Oscar worthy, then that's great. But it's kind of turned around on its head, really, hasn't it?
Well, I think it was a great thing back in the day when there was when you had no access to famous people and you never really got to see them outside of movies. It was like this exciting thing to see a famous person like walk down the red carpet and sit there in their chair and be like, in an audience, and it was interesting to see. But now with TMZ and everything like that, and you see famous people all the time doing everything they do, it's not as interesting to see them dress up and get an award.
Absolutely. I mean, every time I walk down the street in New York, I get recognized in restaurants and stuff. People are like, "Are you Xander Gibb? You know, you must get the same thing." Well,
I know.
I actually was in a restaurant last year, and this guy said to me, he went, "Are you Jake Pentland's gay stalker?" And I was kind of really shocked, and I thought, it just shows you the shit that you put out there on Twitter, that people actually do read it.
Oh, yeah,
and they do
absolutely.
kind of, take this information on. So let's look at the nominations for Best Picture. I almost feel like I should be here in like a cocktail dress. I mean, I am, but, don't tell anybody, because obviously no one really listens to the show. The nominations are as follows. I almost feel like there should be like a drum beat before this. Beasts of the Southern Wild, Silver Linings Playbook, Zero Dark 30, Lincoln, Les Mis, Life of Pi, Armor, Django Unchained, and Argo. Now, I only saw about half of them. What about you?
Yeah, me too. I only saw a few of those, a couple of them, actually. I really liked Silver Lining Playbooks. I thought that was one of the best movies I'd seen all year, if not the best.
Right. I didn't actually see that, but I kind of, things like Life of Pi and what was the other one? Les Mis were amazing movies. And I think the thing is that, people tell you how good a movie is, and then you can go and see it, and you think, where did you get that from? That was absolutely the worst thing I ever saw,
Yeah.
But I guess it's all relative, because, what is one person's favorite movie can be somebody else's, worst movie ever. But what would your pick be? What would your pick be for Best Picture out of those? I know you only saw half of them, but
no. Even if I had even if I could pick from every movie all year, I'd still pick Silver Linings Playbook. I love that movie.
Right. Well, I didn't see that, but my pick would definitely be Les Mis. I do tend to not like.
So gay.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't tend to like movies with music in them, because they tend to really kind of F it up with a capital F. But this was different. I mean, Anne Hathaway's performance in that was absolutely amazing. I mean, they called me to be in it, but I had a conflicting schedule, so it just wasn't. It just wasn't possible. Okay, so the next category is Best Supporting Actor. Nominations: Christoph Waltz even, for Django Unchained, Philip Seymour Hoffman for The Master, Robert De Niro for Silver Linings Playbook, Alan Arkin for Argo, and Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln. I mean, there are a few really great names among that. Some are kind of like unknowns. I've never heard of Christoph Waltz. I mean, people probably say I should get out more.
He's the guy from Inglourious Bastards, like the German guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I am gonna guess that De Niro will win, because he hasn't made. That's like the first good role he's done in a really long time.
Yeah.
And also, he was good in that movie too, and he's great. So people will be like, "Oh, let's give it to him. He's old. He probably won't have another chance to win one." People do that kind of stuff with the Oscars all the time.
It's such bullshit, isn't it? Because it should go to the best, to whoever was best at it. And unfortunately, I hate when it. I actually really applaud when it goes to an unknown name. I mean, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but I think it's going to go to De Niro, but I would like it to go to Philip Seymour Hoffman, because I think he is one of the best actors of our age. And he's not really classic, what you would call classically good looking, is he? He's a chubby guy with ginger hair, and the industry doesn't, it's kind of like 6 foot tall blondes with ripped muscles, and that are usually in these categories and stuff. But I'm glad it's moving around. I think music has done that too. It kind of goes back to being real people rather than just people that look good. If you look at absolutely fabulous, but you can't act, surely that defeats the object.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian springs to mind.
Yeah. it's starting to come around again. Like that show Girls on HBO is really popular. Adele is really popular. You know, these aren't beautiful women. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see that coming back around again.
We were talking last week about Kim Kardashian getting cast in one of Tyler Perry's movies, and it's kind of, you know, it's kind of sickening as an actor, as someone that's a trained actor, to see people that have done reality television have not really served their time, kind of getting these good roles. I mean, how much better as an actress is she than someone who's like time served? I mean, I just don't see it really.
Nope, and it's that line is totally blurred now, man. No one cares anymore. Like,
no.
I don't even think doing reality really hurts you. I think we talked about this once before. I don't think it matters anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would. If they knocked on my door tomorrow and said, "Hey, Xander, let's give you a reality show," I would, you know, I'd bite off their balls to do it.
Yeah, you just have to.
It's a segue into something. I think any television is a segue into something else, really. All right, let's look at Best Supporting Act. Sorry, I talked over you. You were going to respond then.
I didn't have anything great to say.
I thought it better stop because it could have been something earth-shattering. All right, Best Supporting Actress. Nominations are Sally Field for Lincoln, Anne Hathaway for Les Mis, Jackie Weaver for Silver Linings Playbook, and Helen Hunt for The Sessions, and Amy Adams for The Master.
I'm gonna keep with my Silver Linings Playbook. And can I just say that doesn't Anne Hathaway just look like she would be crazy?
Yeah,
like
well, she probably is. Who
if you hung out with her?
Yeah, who was that Hollywood actress that was? I can't think of her name. She got caught shoplifting in a store.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. Yeah, I mean, people have questioned her sanity, but isn't there? Let's face it. In our industry, whether you're a comedian, an actor, a singer, a writer, whatever you are, there is always this element of people kind of thinking that you're a bit crazy. Now, I don't have a problem with that. But I do think that there is a lot of it about, you know, that creative surge has got to come from somewhere, really.
Yeah. People always think that people always assume that I'm, like, deeply sad when I'm not, you know. Or some people assume that because comics have this, like, tragic reputation, I guess you would say.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think that, like, when people meet me, like, away from, like, you know, the public face of Xander Gibb, obviously you're kind of like you're on form then. But then, you know, if they just go for dinner with you or whatever, they kind of expect you to be on the show, like, all the time. And I can't do that. You know, I can do it for a little time and I can tell a few jokes and say a few funny things, but kind of, you know, there's a time and a place for it, isn't there, really? People should not expect it from you all the frickin' time.
Well, yeah, you can't constantly do it. You know, the river runs dry some days.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And we're all human, aren't we? We all kind of, like, you know, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Well, for Best Supporting Actress, I have to say my pick would definitely not be Sally Field because I can never get her out of my mind as Mrs. Doubtfire's ex-wife. I still see her in that role. She's like, she seems to play the same freaking person. She is a good actress, but she plays the same role. I just think she plays the same person like every single time.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of her. It's funny that her and Anne Hathaway are both nominated because when Anne Hathaway is old, she'll probably be just like Sally Field is now.
That's a very good analogy, actually.
Yeah, they're a lot alike. So that's like, it's sort of fitting that they. So maybe Sally Field. See, now I'm like an Oscar voter. I'm like, well, just give it to her.
Yeah.
The older actors, you know, I think there's a kid nominated this year. I always hate it when they nominate a kid. Like, that's always
For which category?
I think one of the Best Supporting Actresses is a kid.
Maybe it was one of the names we didn't recognize.
Yeah, it's like I think it might be from, I don't remember, but it's a little girl, and there's a bunch of things about that it's never, first of all, it's never a little boy. It's always a little girl. It's never, I don't know. I just don't think, as someone who's acted, like, this kid can't be putting in the work, like, to win an Oscar. They can't be putting in any kind of deep thought or any kind of, like, emotional. They haven't done any, like, emotional research because they're little kids. So it's like, what did they do to get an Oscar?
Believe me, if they nominate Kim Kardashian next year for anything, I will be picketing the Oscars naked, and you can hold me to that. I really would
too. Like, if I met someone, kind of talking about Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, it's like, if I met someone and dated them for like 3 months and got them pregnant, like, that would be crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no matter who they are, if they're Kim Kardashian, it's extra bad. But I just think it's no one ever mentions that. They're like, oh, Kim and Kanye having a baby. No one ever goes like, yeah, maybe they just met each other.
Yeah. I mean, I've had masturbation sessions that have lasted longer than her marriage. I mean, it's laughable, really.
I'm having one right now.
Days. Me too. While we're speaking, I'm using my feet. All right, let's go to Best Director. The nominations are, you see, I'm hoping they're going to ask me to give an award next year. That's why I'm doing my best Oscars voice. The nominations are David O. Russell for Silver Linings Playbook, Ang Lee for Life of Pi, Steven Spielberg for Lincoln, Michael Haneke for Armor, Ben Zeitlin for Beasts of Southern Wild. I know you're going to go straight to David Russell for Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah.
You've become predictable, Will.
I know, but those other ones those are some weak choices there.
Yeah.
Spielberg should always win. I mean, he's one of the best directors that have ever walked the planet. I mean,
I'll be always grateful to Ang Lee for Brokeback Mountain. That was an amazing film.
What were the last two guys again?
Michael Haneke for Armor and Ben, B-E-N-H, I don't know how you pronounce that, Ben Zeitlin for Beasts of the Southern Wild. I mean, I've never heard of any of those, really.
Yeah.
They're both kind of, they're probably been doing a long time, but they've not been brought to the public attention very much.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to be old predictable Willie and go with David O. Russell. But David O. Russell, he's casting a movie in Boston right now, actually, and I heard through someone at the casting office that he's like a very hands-on director, and he even like casts all the extras and everything from video himself, and he's very what's the word I'm looking for, like meticulous and
right
into every single aspect and detail. So I like that. So I'll vote for him again. I'm going to surprise you on one of these categories, but
yeah, one time you probably will. Funny enough, last week I did an audition on Skype, which was great. I think this is really the way forward, that they do it on Skype so that they don't have to waste their time coming in. You don't have to waste your time going to them. They can see enough of what they want to see on Skype. And I thought, wow, why can't every single audition be kind of like this? And I don't think there's the same level of nervousness if you're not in the room with the person. So it kind of adds that element of confidence, if you like. But I'm
nice
really
to send in a tape or something.
Yeah.
That's always the best.
All right, let's look at Best Actor. The nominations for the category of Best Actor are, notice the pause, Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln, Denzel Washington for Flight, Hugh Jackman for Les Mis, Bradley Cooper for Silver Linings Playbook, and Joaquin Phoenix for The Master. Is it just me, or do you always want to say Joe Quinn when you see his name written down? Joaquin.
It's never the way. You never want to say it the right way.
No. I would love to give an award and actually say Joe Quinn. Joe Quinn Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you're going to go for...
I don't know. I really like Denzel Washington as well. I saw that movie. That movie was great.
Great. I never saw Flight, but I would like to.
But I gotta go with Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Or if I had to pick a second one, I'd probably say Daniel Day-Lewis and Lincoln. I didn't even see that, but from what I did see, it was pretty amazing. That's pretty.
I thought he gave a very good. Very good performance. But I've always liked Daniel Day-Lewis. I've followed his career from the very beginning. He was in this movie about 25 years ago called My Beautiful Laundrette. It was a gay movie, obviously, because if it sticks in my mind, it's got to be gay. But he's been acting for since God was in knee-high pants. He really has been doing it for a long time. So I'm glad to see him getting good parts.
No, he's a great actor and just a role model for there's a guy who should be winning awards. So
definitely.
So there's a lot of people in that one who deserve it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going for Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln.
He's probably experimented with some men. He's like one of those guys.
Yeah.
Really
is it definitely a lovey, isn't he?
Yeah.
Probably bisexual. Allegedly. Don't be calling in. Don't be calling in, Daniel. We're just joking.
No, probably just he had some time. He had his day.
Yeah.
His day. Back in the 80s.
Let's look at. Well, I reckon most people have had a bisexual experience, but that's for another show. Well,
whether by choice or not.
Yeah. Is that why you've never stayed over at my apartment when you've been in the city? Oh gosh. All right. Best Actress nominations are Naomi Watts for The Impossible, Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30, Jennifer Lawrence for Silver Linings Playbook, Emmanuel Rivera for Armour Quivazane Wallace, whatever that is. Oh no, I got that wrong. It's Armour, and then the next nominee is Quivazane Wallace, Beasts of the Southern Wind.
I think that's the little girl. She's got Best Actress nomination, not Best Supporting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who she is, but with a name like Quivazane, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, she's like a African American chick, I think, or maybe like Haitian. I'm not even sure.
Right.
I just saw her giving an interview on TV, and she seemed cool. Seemed like a nice little kid, but didn't seem like didn't seem like Meryl Streep level or deep.
She ain't the Meryl Streep level of deep. That could almost be a rap, couldn't it?
Like a Wu-Tang rap,
Yeah. So are you going for her, or are you just gonna go for Jennifer Lawrence because she was in Silver Linings Playbook?
You got me. You got it. I'm gonna go against anyone but the little girl, and hopefully Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
Jennifer Lawrence is really hot.
Tend to agree. She's not my type, but her brother is pretty hot.
Who's her brother?
I have no idea. I was just being my usual facetious gay self.
She probably does have a attractive brother.
Yeah. Well, if she's that good looking and her brothers are ugly, our mother's got some explaining to do, surely.
You never know, man. It really people look different.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people and they said, "Oh, this is my sister." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah. And then you'll meet my brother. Like, some people are like, "Oh, it's obvious you guys look so much alike," and other people are like, "You're not brothers." It's like you never know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think I've never met your brother, but I've seen a picture of you with your brother, and you do kind of look alike. You can see you're kind of like from the same family. I mean, it's funny, as I've got older, I've got to look more like my siblings, but when I was younger, I kind of didn't look like them at all, I used to think that I belonged to the milkman, and I probably did. Well, Well, I think that let's call it a wrap, because the rest of the kind of categories for the Oscars are boring as shit, like best cinematography, best costume design, best documentary feature. Now, no disrespect to people that work behind the scenes, but I don't care. I just kind of care about who I've seen on the screen.
What are the nominees for best documentary feature? Maybe I've seen some of those. I see a lot of documentaries.
Austin said he nominates Quiva Zane Wallace for Beasts of the Southern Wild, and apparently she's 9 years old. Wow. 9 years old. Sorry, what were you saying, Molly?
I was saying, what were the documentaries? I'm interested in that.
Best documentary films: Searching for Sugar Man, How to Survive a Plague, The Gatekeepers, 5 Broken Cameras, The Invisible War, and Life's Too Short for Bad Coffee, starring Xander Gibb. No, I'm joking about the last one. And I've never seen
any of those.
No, me either, I think that a lot of these things that let's face it, what's going to happen tonight is like the same film on probably Silver Linings Playbook and Life of Pi and Argo. We're going to get all the awards.
Yeah.
And I think
Flight
that's
was
kind
very good. Flight should get some. I bet it'll get those little ones you were talking about, like special effects and cinematography and stuff.
Yeah.
There was some cool stuff in that movie.
Now, is it just me, or do you get so far when watching the Oscars and then you switch it off? Because really, I'm probably going to get beaten up next time I go on set by the costume department and the animation team and all of this, because they're gonna be. But I just I don't tend to think of them. But I have to say, with anything that I do, any of my productions with my production company, I credit everybody. But in the Oscars.
I wouldn't be watching the Oscars at all, really. If my girlfriend will want to watch them, I'll watch them with her. I'll probably be on my phone the whole time messing around. But it's all like a big prom for famous people.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
Yeah, let's face it.
To go pat each other on the back, take pictures, celebrate.
Yeah. And we all sit there and bitch and say, why is she there? I'll be watching and seeing Kim Kardashian there with Kanye West, smiling with her fat belly, and Kim showing off her pregnant belly too. No, that's not very nice. I'll be bitching at why the hell is she there? But I guess they bought a ticket, because you can buy a ticket to these things. You don't have to be given a ticket or nominated. I went to the Brit Awards in the UK once or twice because I got free tickets from someone. And I remember some pop star who will remain nameless saying, "What the hell are you doing here? Did you have to buy a ticket?" I'm like, "No, I was given one."
What an asshole.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I love it when I go to places with no, it wasn't Robbie Williams. I'll tell you off air sometime. What I do is. I've got to be careful, I've upset so many people in my career.
If anyone is listening, I'm just trying to get Xander to say the name. So maybe before the end of the show. But I tell you who I will bitch about today. We were on Twitter the other night, and what's his name, John Cusack was on there, and he was talking about how he was saying Chicago was a state, not a city. And he was obviously joking, but I was like, no, that's not the case. Chicago is a city in the state of Illinois. I said, I'm glad your acting prowess is far better than your comedic skills. So the bastard blocked me. Aww.
What a jerk. I know. This is the thing for me. I've been blocked by so many celebrities by just having fun with them, like Tom Arnold, but he's not really a celebrity, is he? Let's face it, he's only famous for being married to Roseanne Barr. He did do that one movie that wasn't bad, but I can't remember what it was. But when there's some Tom somebody or other who is this comedian on the West Coast, I think I told you about this before. Now, if someone bitches you or we come back with something just 10 times funnier. I'm not going to block people, just because, they've said shit that I don't like. Okay, so before we go into some other topics, we'll move away from the Oscars. Let me give out the number again. It's 347-884-9061. Call in with your questions, your comments, your compliments, requests from my phone number. I just gave it. It's 347-884-9061. Come on, Jimmy Noonan, if you're listening, you have to call in today. You didn't call in last time. We're giving you a free plug.
I think he got a new job.
Oh, did he? Doing what?
I think he's doing something. I think he's doing a web series or something like that, but it's paid,
right.
And he's been working his ass off. That's what I heard. I heard through the grapevine.
He seems like a really nice guy, and he looks like you wouldn't want to fuck with him in a bar, you know.
Oh my God, no! You definitely would not.
I would hire him in a second as my security.
His fans are really scary guys. Sometimes I meet his fans out there when I'm doing my thing, and they'll be like, "Do you know Jimmy?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're just always like huge, crazy, muscle-bound guys.
Wow. Yeah. I actually got some threats the other night from John Cusack fans for giving him a compliment, so go figure. I think fans are scary. I don't ever want fans like that. Do you?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I wouldn't want I like it when people defend me, but I wouldn't want that like Justin Bieber like cutting themselves and shit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sure.
That was stop smoking pot, Justin, or I'll cut myself even more. I mean, God,
yeah.
That's
which is weird
worrying.
Because cutting yourself is really a lot worse than smoking pot. So it's kind of like,
of course.
It doesn't make any sense. So.
I mean, I remember once someone telling me about that they cut themselves because they felt pain and they wanted there to be an outward sign of the pain, and I really couldn't understand that. And I guess unless you've ever experienced it, it's not something that you can understand.
I thought that was a private conversation, but fine. I guess we'll talk about it on Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't mention any names.
I was saying that was me. That was me telling you I cut myself. Obviously, I do it, guys. It's out there.
Yeah, I think you're not being serious, are you?
No, I'm kidding.
You mean shaving, don't you? Of course.
I should get an Oscar. My acting is so good. I totally tricked you.
You bastard.
Where's my
You heard
Oscar?
it on Blog Talk Radio. Will Noonan is a bastard. All right. Moving swiftly on. Now, as a Catholic, I really wanted to ask you what you thought about the Pope resigning. And some would say it's kind of odd how he announced the day after we highlighted his inequality and homophobia last week. And we are reliably informed, as I said on last week's show, that he does listen to the Latin translation of my show, which comes out on Tuesdays. But what do you think is behind this speedy exit, Will?
Well, I had a joke about this that went like viral, slightly viral.
I saw.
And it went on. It was on like this guy Bill Squire. He's a comedian, but he's also a radio DJ in Cleveland on FM radio out there, and he played it, or he read the joke and gave me credit for it on the air, and I got a bunch of Twitter followers, so he was great to do that.
Yeah.
And it was like this. It's still kind of going on a little bit. I'm still getting people like on Twitter, even today, quoting me and just telling me they thought it was funny and shit. So the joke was, I don't know why people are mad at the Pope. There's nothing more Catholic than pulling out before you're finished.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a quality joke.
I mean, the mainstream news is kind of conned on to the fact there were rumors last week. It was alleged that the reason why he was resigning because he was just about to be arrested by the Italian police for and again, this is allegation, so don't try and sue us, but for child related stuff. And even on the news today, they were saying that there were allegations that he was part of some gay sex.
Yeah.
It gives a whole new angle on kissing the Pope's ring, doesn't it?
It does kind of have that feeling of preemptive strike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a publicity move.
Yes, so as not to bring not to bring too much down on the head of the Catholic Church. But let's face it. I mean, would we be surprised at further allegations of pedophilia and the Catholic Church? It's unfortunate, but 25 years ago, if someone said that the priest had abused them, you just wouldn't have believed it. But now, not so much.
No, and they just have they have so many. They're worse than politicians over there. They're all just trying to help themselves and keep their jobs. And those cardinals and bishops, they're worse than politicians because they have their powers absolute to them.
Yeah.
And they live in the Vatican, which is they're basically gods over there. So they're crazy. I'm not surprised they do crazy stuff.
No, I think that they say power, absolute power corrupts, and I think that is a frightening thing, that people that are in positions of trust end up kind of doing things like this. And the thing that's even more scary is that they do these things, under the banner of the church and under the banner of God. I mean, surely any religious institution that finds anything untoward going on would really do their best to weed it out and to stop whatever was going on. Because unfortunately what they've done is they've paid people off and kept it quiet. And to me, I know they want to protect their reputation, but to me, surely the aim is to make sure that people are protected, that kids are protected, and are not in that kind of situation again,
Absolutely, man. It's weird, dude. I don't know.
So Austin just said something funny in the chat room, and I just worked out what it meant. He said to tell you he likes apples too, and then right after he said, "LOL, sorry," quoting one of Will's weed jokes. And I'm still a little bit in the dark, but I guess he'd made some joke about.
Who wrote that? That's awesome.
Austin, in the chat room.
I gotta bring that. That's like a joke I used to do, and it's on one of my more popular YouTube clips of me and stuff. And it's a joke about how people who smoke pot. You're probably one of these people, actually. Sometimes you probably don't smoke pot anymore, do you?
No.
But I'm
boring nowadays.
You probably did, though, right?
I just eat myself stupid. Yeah, I used to smoke a quarter a night when I lived in London.
So that's exactly what the joke is. People always say, "Oh, I don't smoke pot anymore, but I used to." It's like you don't do that with other things. You don't say you don't see someone walking down the street eating an apple and run up to them and go, "Hey, guess what? I like apples too." And then they go, "Oh, you want a bite of this apple?" And you go, "Oh, no, I don't touch apples anymore, but back in college, I used to have a quarter of apples a night."
Oh gosh, I was terrible. I never, and I hope never to get to that stage. But if they legalize pot in New York State, watch this space. I will be doing this show stoned off my body.
It'll happen. It'll happen soon. That's a scary thing for me. I was just doing a gig in Pennsylvania, and I was
Pennsylvania.
Actually, I'm going to be in New York next weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to be in West Nyack on
West
Friday.
Nyack. That's on the other side, isn't it? That's on New Jersey side.
Yeah, I'm going to be there on Friday.
You know who lives there?
Who?
Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh.
So
well,
tell us about the gig and where it's at and where we can get tickets and how you'll be putting me on the guest list.
I'll be at Levity Live, which I guess is this big comedy club. I've never been there before. And I'm just kind of sneaking in. I'm doing a spot during the daytime. I booked this spot a really long time ago. I don't really know.
Is it a Saturday or something?
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. Friday during the day?
At night. I think it's at 10 o'clock or something.
Oh, I thought you said during the day.
Oh, no. Never do comedy during the day.
No, I was going to say that just wouldn't be funny, you know.
Or rarely. And then Saturday, I think I'm going to be in the city somewhere, but I don't know yet. So got to watch my Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah,
for that.
definitely. Let me know, and we'll grab a bite to eat or something if you're free.
Absolutely. Maybe do some live recordings.
Be great to see you.
Yeah, man.
We can go to High Life and ridicule the waitresses.
I know, it's so weird. Like, I occasionally see a Facebook photo from like Brother Jimmy's or someplace, or I'll see a picture of Christy, and I'm just like, wow, it's so crazy how long.
I know.
It's been a long time. She
still looks pretty hot, right?
Oh yeah, she looks great. She has like that perfect all-American look that just lasts forever.
Yeah, I think she's absolutely beautiful. She'll be 75 and still looking gorgeous. Really,
yeah, I don't know what's up with her. Like, she just has and but she never really drank a ton. She wasn't like a heavy drinker or anything like that.
No, she doesn't.
She took good care of herself.
Whenever I've been out for her, she's out with her, and we've gone to an event or something. I've never seen her drink more than 2 drinks the whole night. And there's me on my 10th bottle of beer and saying, "Are you all right, Christy? You want another drink?" She's like, "No, I'm fine with you."
I admire those people. I've never been one of them.
Me too. I mean, I can go out and just drink soda, but sometimes I do like a couple of beers. But I've been on this diet since the beginning of the year and doing lots of exercise, and so I drink very rarely now. But we went out a couple of weeks ago and I had a couple of beers. I mean, I just thought if I limit myself, but I think with any kind of health plan, you have to have a little bit of something from time to time, because otherwise it's you feel like your throat's being cut, really.
True that.
All right, let's move on to the next topic of conversation. Are we raising a nation of pussies? I don't know about you, but I got this concern about this ideology that all kids have to win in school. And I think we're setting them up for disappointment later in life. And I'm so sick of hearing this, everyone must win, everyone must get a prize mentality. And in my experience, it really doesn't set you up for real life, because in real life, you don't win every time, do you? I'm at least me thinking, why do schools do this? Why do they think it's a good policy?
I don't know. I see it a lot. My nieces are elementary school, and I see them a lot, almost every couple times a week, I'd say. And I'm not over their school very often, but I always hear the stories about they don't wild tag anymore, they don't play dodgeball anymore. Here's a funny one. I was sitting on the couch with my niece the other day, and I said something like, I got the dog's name wrong. The dog's name is Gus, and I called him Russ. And then I was like, she's only she's only 3 years old. So she was she's 5 years old. And she was kind of laughing at me oh, you said it wrong. And I was like, I know, I must be stupid. And then she said oh, you said a bad word. And I was like, what? She's like, you swore, you said stupid.
Stupid is swearing now?
I was like, stupid is swearing now? And I guess they tell them, that's it's a bullying word. It's a bad word. So
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see how some words are kind of have negative connotations and that kind of thing, but I do think that this thing about bullying is kind of a circular logic, and I don't agree with bullying in any way, shape, or form, but there is a part of bullying where you have to kind of be tough enough to stick up for yourself a bit, because otherwise I think you do become targeted. I mean, I was bullied in school. I was fat. I was the fat gay kid that wore glasses, and so I'm convinced that it's part of the reason why I have such quick responses with funny shit nowadays, because I kind of had the ideology that if I made people laugh, then they wouldn't pick on me so much. And it worked mostly. I mean, the teachers hated me, as you would expect, but...
Right.
No,
I think I was the same way. I think I had, all entertainers have that sort of stripper quality inside.
Yeah. Get your clothes off, Will.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I despair for this nation of kids when they grow up, because they're going to go into work and they're going to go into college and stuff, and let's face it, everyone is at a different level of academia, and some are not going to do as well as others, and when they don't, it's going to really hit them hard, because they've not got used to any kind of hitting the mark. I mean, there is a level of thinking around this that says that it kind of promotes kids to try harder, but how does it when they win whatever they do?
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, it's stupid, man. It's really gonna backfire when these, like you said, when these kids all turn 30 and they just have no idea. It's already backfiring. I mean, my generation was the first, like, that was kind of not smacked around a lot, or, like, really mistreated or anything like that. You know what I mean? We were, like, pretty much coddled, and most of us are not doing so great right now because of the poor economy and all sorts of different reasons. But
I mean, I don't have kids, but if I did ever have kids, I would want to raise them with a level of discipline, because it's like people have said to me, "Oh, you're kind of strict with your nieces and nephews." Yeah, hell, too right I am, because I don't want them to end up with the same levels of disregard to authority that I had, because I really did end up with that kind of mentality. My parents used to say, if the teacher's rude to you, you be rude back. No, that's not how it works, And if you grow up with that level of response as a child, you end up with that level of response as an adult. And that's why, unfortunately, we have so many fucked up adults in this country. It's a very unfortunate fact, but it's true.
It is. You're absolutely right. You are right, my friend.
Okay, so let's look at the next topic. This chimp retirement package. Have you heard of this?
No, but I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
I like monkey stuff. I like monkeys.
Monkey spanking is that? So for the first time in their lives, 4 aging chimpanzees, once used in federal research, can go out whenever they like. They can lie on the grass, clamber onto a platform 20 feet up into a chimp-style like jungle gym, and gaze freely at the open sky. These 52-year-old Julius and 46-year-old Sandy and Phyllis, 44 years old, have basically been given the chance to live like chimpanzees, and they're giving themselves a pat on the back for this. And I want to give them a real big kick up the ass, because why have they kept these animals in cages for all of their lives and experimented on them? And all of these shit. I mean, they say that chimpanzees and the like are the closest to us, and they share more than 98% of the same DNA as humans. They're intelligent. You can teach them things. They can learn things. They can have conversations. I mean, you imagine a human being locked in a cage all of their life. I mean, this is disgusting. Don't frickin' pat yourself on the back that you finally allowed these animals out of their cage and given them a retirement package. I mean, you want a good swift kick up the ass for keeping them in cages all these years,
Yeah, this isn't a new thing either. These chimp like sanctuaries have existed for a long time, so they could have released them at any time. Like, they were just done with them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It really is a sad state of affairs. I often wonder what happened to.
Speaking of documentaries, there's a good documentary about chimpanzee retirement. I forget what it's called, but I'm sure if you type in like chimp retirement documentary into Google, it'll be the first thing that comes up. It was great. I think I saw it on PBS. It was awesome. Check it out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of sad. I often wonder what happened to Michael Jackson's chimp Bubbles. You know,
I think they know what happened to Bubbles.
Really? I'm not talking about while he lived with Michael Jackson. I mean after.
No, he eventually did die, like in.
Oh, did he?
In a
wow.
zoo, though.
That's very sad. I was very lucky when I lived in London to be involved with this commission called the Millennium Commission, and they were involved a lot with London Zoo, and they used to have all of their meetings there. And because of the work that I did, I used to get to go into the zoo when the zoo was closed. Maybe I've told you this story before, but they used to take me around, and I saw animals being born and things like this, and they took me to the gorilla enclosure. I never actually went in, but this female gorilla loved guys, and she said, take off your shoe and point to your foot, and this gorilla was pointing to its foot, putting its hand on the glass. You know, this thing could have ripped my head off, but was like the most genteel thing. It was kind of like, you have a foot like me, but why do you wear a shoe? And it was like communicating with me, and it blew me away to think that this animal that was clearly capable of communication, because he wasn't just copying, you know, it was just so, I don't know, I really can't explain that.
Boston has a really great gorilla exhibit at the Franklin Park Zoo here, and I've seen them. One of them here has a little baby, and it was something else, man, to see that mom walking around with the little baby, you know.
Well, talking of moms walking around with little babies, what about Tiger Woods playing golf with the president?
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't see what the problem with that is. You know, he's still the best golfer on the planet, and
I know.
Joy Behar on The View had like the best line. She said, if guys didn't play golf with guys that cheated on their wives, there wouldn't be anyone left to play golf with.
I know. I mean, I can't understand how some people are pissed that, you know, he actually did it, and some people are pissed that, you know, that they haven't seen the footage. I mean, do we really care? Do we really need to see the president palling around with people who are unfaithful? Did you see my deliberate sideswipe at Sarah Palin there? And a dig at the naysayers who want to bitch about the president. I mean,
and then he's supposed to just punish Tiger Woods for the rest of his life because of, you know, a few indiscrepancies. It's a big deal.
I think, you know, we were talking about this last week. I think as a nation, unfortunately, we're not very forgiving. I mean, look at the medals that Michael Phelps brought back to this country, and they gave him all that grief for being seen doing a bong at a party. Now, last week, Mike Tyson was on an episode of SVU playing a convicted rapist. Now, the guy in real life is a convicted rapist. I mean, maybe it was a little bit insensitive, but, you know, what are we supposed to do? You know, Chris Brown. Nobody will ever let Chris Brown forget that he beat up Rihanna. Yeah, it was wrong. It was bad. But I don't think we're very forgiving anymore as a nation. We're just not. Where's that gone, you know?
I don't know. Well, it seems the thing right now is we're not too far away from the medieval standing around and watching the execution. Now we just want to watch it at home, but they want people to be publicly executed and publicly vilified.
Yeah, it's like they're baying for blood. I think we forget though that none of us are perfect. We've all made mistakes. We've all done things wrong. You know, it's all part of the rite of passage and the rite of growing up. But you know, some people are allowed to forget their mistakes, and others are not allowed to do that. And I think you know. Wake up, America, and smell of coffee.
I do think eventually in this country, if you stick around long enough, or if you wait it out long enough, you can always make a comeback in America.
Yeah. I think it depends on what you've done. I think some things are, you know, I don't think they'll be giving Casey Anthony a reality show anytime soon.
No way.
but you know, I kind of see your point. You know, other people are kind of given another chance. But I think America is a little bit fickle sometimes as to who gets another chance, you know? And it's really, it's a shame, really. So what about Maxim Chermakovsky leaving Dancing with the Stars? His days of sequined unitards are over, and the ballroom beauty is officially leaving Dancing with the Stars. Allegedly, the 33-year-old dancer who's been on the show since season 2 has spoken to the producers and told them that he will not be returning to the upcoming season. Now, Sherry Shepherd has formed a support group, apparently.
Dude, this is out of my area of expertise.
I know.
That's for sure.
Mine too, but again, it's like all this big deal is made, and do we really care? Is it really such a big deal? You know, apparently he's pursuing other movie and TV projects, and is probably being offered a reality show or 3. But his brother Val is apparently returning to the show, which is good news for the gays.
Thank God.
His brother is hotter and has a bigger package, allegedly. I mean, how would we live without Val Chermakovsky? I mean, please. And there are people starving in the world.
That's the funny thing about the Russians, though. Like, they have a lot of straight ballerinas.
Yeah.
Like,
Who
all
was
the
that guy that was
American
in Sex and the
ballerinas are
City?
gay guys.
What was his name? The guy who played the Russian in Sex and the City. I can't remember.
Baryshnikov.
Yeah, Mikhail Baryshnikov. Yeah. What an unfortunate name, Baryshnikov. Sounds like a rifle, doesn't it? My name is Baryshnikov. Yeah, there are a lot of...
up here. He's got a joke about how they all sound gay, like Sergei jerks men off.
I think I've slept with him. I saw this news article this week, and I thought of you, Will, and it was talking about big bizarre busts and seizures on items that have been confiscated. Like an $80 million yacht. Now, that didn't make me think of you, but $180 million worth of cocaine found on a submarine. No? That didn't make me think of you either. But apparently $12 million worth of pot was seized, and it was the largest seizure when agents busted a 26-year-old American man who attempted to drive a tractor-trailer into Arizona. I mean, what could you do with $12 million worth of pot? You would never need to buy any again, would you? 600 bales of marijuana weighing just over 1,400 pounds. I mean, what the hell would you do with that? What did they do with that? I bet it still gets sold on the street, don't you? I mean, I bet that still ends up in someone's bong.
I'm sure a good amount of it ends up in the police. You know, I'm sure a few policemen will steal that and stuff.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, or it'll get It's funny nowadays. Now that stuff is a good. So almost in some states it's legal. So
yeah,
but,
I think eventually they're going to make it. They're going to need to make it. This is why I don't understand about America. You know that my time has been spent between America and the UK. Is like in the UK, if it's the law in one county, which is the same as a state, it's the law all across the United Kingdom. But here, all the states have kind of different laws, which I think is a bit of bent logic.
That's our I mean, that's the whole basis of the United States. It's like each state was supposed to be like its own country.
Wow.
So, like Massachusetts, it goes even further because Massachusetts is a commonwealth, so every town has its own laws, like speed limit. You can be driving down the highway and the speed limit can change as you go through different towns.
Wow.
Which is really annoying. Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. Well, on to our final story, Will, because we're running out of time. We've got a few minutes left. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this new application called Lives On? When your heart stops beating, you keep on tweeting. A new application that will allow Twitter users to keep tweeting from beyond the grave, independently using intricate knowledge of your online character to create a virtual continuation of your personality after you die. I mean, how
is so creepy.
Ridiculous is that? I mean, I don't think they would be able to. I don't think that with you or I, they would be able to simulate what we were going to say. I mean, I tweet such crazy shit. Last night I tweeted something I lost my heart to a starship pooper. I just thought it was funny, and I tweeted it. I mean, how would they come up with the shit that I tweet?
I was going to say, that's what would be cool is if you could write, maybe 300 tweets before, just have them kind of, before you die, just have them hold on to those and, release them slowly over the course of a few years. I could see that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want them writing for me and representing me. That'd be horrible.
No, absolutely. I would turn in my grave.
Especially if they were saying, topical humor. Gosh.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine. It's probably...
Because your take is unique, isn't it?
I have friends who are dead whose face, even every time their face comes up on my Facebook, they'll Facebook friends with them.
Yeah.
And, it'll be like, oh, you and so-and-so are friends with this person, mutual friend. I'm always like, ugh, creeps me out,
Yeah. It is kind of scary.
They should be working on...
Go on.
Sorry. I was going to say they should be working dead people off of Twitter, not getting dead people onto Twitter.
Well, let's face it, they're kind of, they kick you off Twitter and Facebook for the slightest thing. I mean, I've said before, Facebook kicked me off at the height of my glory with 6,000 followers and 700 followers on my fan page and 6,000 friends on my friends list, because they said that I was trying to add people I didn't know. So stop fucking sending me links to people that I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's stupid, man.
It's like, do you want Betty Froggatt to be your friend? Yeah, okay, if Betty Froggatt wants to be my friend, I'll be her friend, but don't penalize me for sending her a friend's request when I don't know her, when you've suggested it. I hate Zuckerberg, I really do. I mean, I've never met the guy, but...
I thought there was something to that where they do that sort of randomly too. I know a lot of people who do all promote their comedy, and I just know one or two comics that have been punished for it. So it seems like they just kind of randomly select who they're going to get.
Haven't we forgotten the ideology behind social media? It's about self-promotion and making new friends.
True.
Surely,
True.
Actually, well, I thought this might kind of interest you too. In North Carolina, they're talking about they're going to issue illegal immigrants with driving license with a bright pink stripe down the bottom with the words "no lawful status" running through this pink stripe. Now, apart from the gays being up in arms because in the concentration camps they used pink triangles to identify people they thought were gay. And people who they thought might be gay, it's kind of scary that they're using these things again to. I mean, isn't it just time that they sorted out the immigration system once and for all? I know the Obama administration is working on it, but my God, in the interim, can't we just treat people a little bit more respectfully? We're a nation of immigrants, for God's sake.
They also in Arizona make prison inmates wear pink.
Are you kidding me?
No, I know that for a fact.
They've got this thing about pink, haven't they?
Yeah.
Apparently, Jan Brewer, a.k.a. I'm a nasty fucker who thinks I can talk down to the president. She said that there's no way that anybody will get a driver's license unless they're legal. I mean, I don't like this woman. I really don't.
They're crazy anyway if they think illegals are going to walk in to get a driver's license. They're not.
Yeah. Hello, I am an illegal immigrant from Russia. I would like a driving license pronto. I mean,
it's like...
They're not going to walk in to ask for a driving license unless, because they're obviously going to fear being arrested and all these other things. But,
or at the very least put on a list or something,
Yeah, well, they reckon everybody in America is on one list or another anyway, If you smoke pot, if you're anti-government, everybody's on some kind of watch list. And apparently every phone call is listened to, and there are trigger words. Apparently if you say the word terrorist, it clicks in. But to me it's ridiculous because, unfortunately the word terrorist has become an everyday word in our vocabulary. So...
Yeah.
I think they should
Sure.
just put us in charge, Will, and we'll sort it out within a couple of weeks.
Do it,
really.
man. Let's fucking do it.
We could turn the White House into a pot den. The Oval Office can be the bong room, and
I'd like to get started on that $12 million worth of weed immediately.
Yeah. Well, once they make it legal, I'll definitely join you. So,
all right.
Will, tell folks where they can find you on the interweb. And besides my bedroom, where else can they see you perform?
I would love it if people just went to willnoonan.com and they can,
right.
If they follow me on Twitter, that'd be great. And where I'm, if you're in New England, you can see me anytime, and if you're in New York or Pennsylvania, you can probably see me too. And if not, ask your comedy club to book me, and then maybe they will.
Absolutely. So if you go to one of your local comedy clubs, tell them that you really want to see Will Noonan on the stage very soon and naked.
You got it.
Well, listen, Will, it's been great having you once again today. It's always good to spend time with old friends. And
blast, man.
Look me up if you're going to be in New York City next weekend. It would be really great to see you in the flesh, as it were.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you so much once again, Will. I look forward to having you on the show again very soon.
All right, thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Will. Take care.
Take care.
Bye. Well, that was the comic genius of Will Noonan, all the way from Bostonia. I would like to thank all of you for your support. It really is overwhelming. All the people that are listening to the show, all the people that are joining in, all the people in the chat room. Thanks to Austin. I don't know where Marvin is today. You get a tardy mark today, Marvin, for not being in the chat for me to bounce off. Join us next week, where we've got an exclusive next week. We have the one and only Bobby Trendy, style icon and designer to the stars, and he'll be telling us about his beef with the Hollywood housewife who ripped off some of his designs, but we'll tell you more about that next time. Thanks again to Will Noonan. Thank you to you all. I really hope you all have a fabulous week, and I will see you next time on Xandermonium every Sunday, 5 p.m. EST, 2 p.m. PST, and 10 p.m. UK time. Big hugs out there to all of my UK listeners and everybody else in between. Thank you very much. Goodbye, and I love you all. Bye-bye. London has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was